My name is Tamathy, and I grew up in a small town in Missouri, and I'm the oldest of 21 children. There are 12 girls, 9 boys, no twins, same parents. I was 19 when I left home, and the first time I took a train, and I left from Missouri and went to a school in Idaho. My grandpa had decided that he was ready to leave town too. My grandma had passed away a few years before, and he had got rid of everything that he owned, which was a lot. Could have been on the show Hoarders, but it didn't exist at the time. But he got rid of everything, and he was living in a camper in the back of the truck. But he decided, since I was going out west to college, that it was time for him to leave town and see the West as well. And by that time, he'd grown his white beard all out long so that the girls wouldn't chase him anymore. And he looked like Santa, but he liked to be called Papa Smurf instead. But he decided to go with me out west, and we took the Amtrak, and it was winter. And we went to the station in this tiny town that was near us where we could meet the train. And all of my family came, all my brothers and sisters, and we all lined up, and they had to hug all of them goodbye. My dad had helped me pack, got my old suitcases, really old suitcases. Some of the suitcases that my grandpa had been hoarding stuff for years, they'd emptied out so I could put my stuff in it, and they didn't match. And my dad wanted to make sure they got to where they were going with me, so he'd written my name on each one in indelible marker. And then my grandpa had wrapped baling twine around each one so that I'd look cool, I guess. So the Amtrak pulled up, and people got to get off for a few minutes and stretch their legs, and there was snow on the ground, and all my brothers and sisters were crying. They hadn't acted like they would miss me. They hadn't acted like they'd liked me, ever. But maybe they'd realize I'd been the one doing all the cooking for the last 10 years of their life. So they'd finally realized they might miss me, and so they were all hugging and saying goodbye, and I was embarrassed, of course. But I got on the train. I went to get on the train. And all the people were looking out the windows, and they were crying at this farewell. And I got on the train, and people were patting me and hugging me. It was really horrible and really embarrassing. And not at all the way that I had wanted to strike out on my own. But my grandpa was there with me with his huge beard, and I got my seat, and he got his seat, but he couldn't sit still. He was so excited. And he went off right away on a big adventure all over the train, and came back with all kinds of tiny soaps and little shampoos and everything free that they had on the train. And it was a really amazing, amazing trip, and I came to love trains, especially for transitions like that. Leaving Missouri, leaving 21 or 20 siblings, and the life that I had there, and going away. And ever since then, if I have a transition like that, a big move across country, I want to go by train, so I can stretch it out and feel the change. A plane is too fast. So I traveled to the train, I saw mountains for the first time, and huge billowing piles of snow. There were 2 little kids from Australia on the train who had never seen snow before. And it was so fun. Everyone got off and made snowballs and passed them, made a huge pile of snowballs in the seat for these kids. And we went through Colorado, and I saw people sitting in hot springs in the snow. And we finally made it to Idaho, and there was a huge snowstorm, and we were trapped in the train station overnight in Pocatello. And the train guy locked up the station and left my grandpa and I there. My grandpa said he'd take the first watch, so he sat up and guarded, and I slept. And the next day we made it to my college in a huge snowstorm. The school was shut down, the housing office was open, and I went in to get my housing, and my grandpa billowed in. It was a church school, a Mormon school. My grandpa looked like a prophet, with his billowing beard, coming in out of the snow. The housing department was very impressed. They got me a great apartment and a job, like the first day. My grandpa gave me $100 and a hug and left out the door. He didn't have a car, he didn't have anything. The housing department said, "Where is he going?" And I said, "He wants to see the West." That's how I went to college.